Rebecca, in a couple of sentences, can you tell me what it is that you actually do at Mineral Resources?
My role as a grad is really to learn and make sure everything's in best sustainable practices in running mines.
Rebecca, what does Mineral Resources do and who do you primarily serve?
Mineral Resources Limited is a lithium and iron ore mining company. They have a few mines around Western Australia, and I guess their service is providing lithium and iron ore.
So what got you interested in applying specifically to the grad program at Mineral Resources?
I saw the great opportunity within the grad program, and it is a company which is continuously growing. We've got this beautiful new office building, but also there's opportunities to actually step in and make your mark within the company as well.
Rebecca, can you give me a high-level walkthrough of the grad application process to the grad program at MinRes?
Like a lot of jobs, I applied with my resume and my cover letter, and then I got a call back for an interview. The interview was organised because it was still during kind of a lockdown COVID. It was over Zoom or Teams, and we had a panel of people who interviewed me and asked me questions. After that, I then did a couple of tests as well. So reading, writing, literacy kind of tests online, which only took about 15 minutes. So were super quick, short ones. And then I got, I think, a call the same day offering me a job and position. So then I had my medicals done. It was very quick.
What do you think was probably the hardest part of the application process to the grad program at MinRes?
I think the hardest part was, like with any job, you got to talk yourself up, like with any interview. And I think that's really hard. In Australia, we've got something called the tall poppy syndrome. So we don't often feel comfortable talking ourselves up. So I think it's just getting used to being in an interview setting where you're talking yourself up and you're like, yes, I am amazing. And these are all the things I can do. So I think that's hard, but that's like with lots of jobs.
What was probably the trickiest interview question that you got asked during the application process to the grad program at MinRes, and how did you handle it?
All the interview questions were pretty standard. I think the trickiest one I found personally was, what skills am I going to bring forward to the job? And I found that one difficult because the description of a job was so broad because you are doing so many different things. But I guess with the same stroke, it's like you don't need to be too precise. The skills that you have can be applied to many different sections of the job and throughout your rotations. And it doesn't need to be very precise. Like it's your first entry-level grad job.
So what do you think was probably the number one thing that got you successfully through the application process to the grad program at MinRes?
I think my enthusiasm to learn, and if you're enthusiastic as well, then they're going to really like that. And I think it's what a lot of grad programs are looking for as well. Particularly in MinRes, they're looking to teach you and really raise you up. So I'm very keen to learn. I do a lot of learning Spanish at the moment. I did an online AWS course in my free time. So kind of these things showing that, you do want to learn and you want to better yourself.
So once you got hired into MinRes as a grad, what did the first few days, weeks, and generally the onboarding process look like?
The onboarding was very focused around reading through different procedures, getting to know everyone in the office, just settling in. So the first few weeks, I was doing online training courses through LMS and getting to know the different people and sitting in on different meetings and learning a lot more about the company.
Can you walk me through a day in your life as a grad at MinRes? How does that look?
That is very difficult because, as I say, we go through all these different rotations. But I'll give you like an example of a day. So for other week, I was working in the GIS team, which is Geographical Information Systems. So I got online, I saw there was a job in the job register box. So I completed a quick, easy map. And then I got some feedback from the map and made different edits to that. I was then invited to sit on a meeting with some contractors. So we went up to level 12 and we've got like beautiful restaurant and like cafe in our building. So we got our free smoothies and stuff like that when having the meeting, which was nice. And then my supervisor helped me create a form after lunch. So we're using GIS and create a map form. And he sat me through and we did it step by step together because it was a new process that I was learning how to do. And then that kind of takes up most of a day. When you edit some maps a little bit more.
Is there any specific action or task that's basically like the highlight of your day as a grad at MinRes that you just love doing every day at work?
So the specific actions and that I really get out every day is we get our supervisor and who's like a mentor to us. So learning off them and being so early on in my career, I find it so helpful to learn off them and see what they do and get to see their strengths as well and learn off that. So how they articulate themselves, how they conduct themselves in meetings, just like all the little small things. So obviously you're learning at the job, but this is my first office job. I get to be mentored a bit, which is great. And that's probably the best part of this.
Rebecca, how much vacation time do you get and how are you going to spend it?
I do know that we're getting about 2 weeks off over this Christmas time, and then I'll have a few more days off and stuff like that. So they're flexible as well.
So what is probably then the coolest thing that you've gotten to work on so far as a grad at MinRes?
Last month, I got to go out on an exploration site and do some malleefowl monitoring. So they were testing out some new technology as well. So they were using thermal drones and lidar. So malleefowl's a bird, make these mounds, and they can be massive. I think the largest they can get is about 20 meters in diameter. So they're huge. They can get really big. And they thermolate themselves. So they self-regulate the temperature of the nest. So they're testing out the thermal drones to see if they pick up the nests and if they can see if there's any maybe eggs in the nest as well. And it's really new technology and it can really help advance and protect this endangered species. So I think that's some pretty cool things to be on. And I got to walk some transect walks as well, which is really fun. Obviously being behind the desk and doing lots of writing and then being able to get outdoors and work on some really cool projects as well like that.
So at the moment you've been dreading, what is probably your least favorite thing about working as a grad at MinRes?
In the office, they blast the aircon. It's probably the least favorite thing, but there's not too many downsides to it, to be honest.
What is probably your single best piece of advice for other grads wanting to apply to the grad program at MinRes and really ace that application process?
So if you're enthusiastic to learn, you're willing to try new things, and you show that in your application process, then that's going to give you a big head start at MinRes.
So what would you say then is probably the coolest fringe benefit of being a grad at MinRes?
They've got so many benefits. So the gym downstairs is $5 for a membership, and that includes all the classes. You've got subsidized meals in the restaurant up top, and you've got cafe down below as well with subsidized coffees for $2 barista made. There's so many little perks. But I was just speaking to a coworker the other day. I was like, the benefit is probably working with such a great team.
What is probably the number one reason why you would encourage other grads to also apply to the grad program at MinRes?
I'm going to apply because there's opportunity to grow. There's opportunity to really make your mark as well and have an impact.